Hello, everyone. This is Shelly the Turtle, or Turtle Cards, whichever one you know me by. And today I'm trying something different. I'm trying to make content for the first time because I was debating whether to buy a Spencer Strider card or not, and I put it into a PowerPoint. Who doesn't like a good PowerPoint? And I was like, hey, let's put it into a video. Let's see if people like it. Since I spent all this time on the PowerPoint, might as well share it with the world. If you like this content, let me know. If you hate this content, let me know, and I'll stop doing it. Either way, that's fine by me. It's still the hobby is a great place to be. But yeah, let's get into it, Spencer Strider. Before we start though, disclaimer: anything that I say in this video is my opinion. This is not financial advice. Buy, sell, trade, hold at your own discretion. Be wise with your money. I am not under any supervision of yours. This is all of you. This is everything that you want to make. So your decisions, your power. With that being said, let's get into it. Spencer Strider. Uh, he is a 26-year-old starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, 6 foot tall. Keep that in mind for how hard he throws. Coming off an internal brace surgery last year, and with that internal brace surgery, it scares me for the long term of his value. Not necessarily his value, but his health. His health terrifies me. Um, I don't know how he's going to recover from the internal brace surgery. Nobody knows what the timetable is like these internal brace surgeries. So keep that in mind throughout this PowerPoint. But we see we're banking on 2022 and 2023. Both were stellar years for him as he posted a 1.83 FIP and a 2.85 FIP. His ERA is, of course, higher here at 2.67 and 3.86. But it just shows that when he is healthy, he is arguably the most dominant pitcher in the league. Now, if you want to say Skeens, throw in Skeens, but 281 strikeouts in 186 innings. You know, I'll see it when Skeens does it. I'll see it. Incredible year in 2023. So incredible year. Finished fourth in Cy Young voting, and it was an All Star. I'd have to say the fourth in Cy Young voting is definitely his marquee accomplishment for his career. Um, So, big strikeout pitcher. We all know this. Some interesting splits here, though, and I didn't put one in here. But with Travis d'Arnaud catching versus Sean Murphy, his ERA was about 4 tenths lower with Sean Murphy behind the dish, which is really interesting because I never noticed that watching the games. But he gave up less home runs, and his ERA was lower with Sean Murphy catching versus d'Arnaud. Also, here we got some splits. Surprisingly, June is his worst month by far with a 4.42 ERA. Rest of the months are pretty good, especially April and August, outstanding months. For some reason, whenever weather gets warmer, Mitch Strider starts giving up more runs. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's just, coincidence, but also looking here at some splits. If you bat six in the line against Mitch Strider, hit 277 with a 338 on base and a 454 slug. Uh, you know, just something, was fun little stat to look at, but I think it's super interesting that the sixth person in the lineup gets on at a higher clip than everybody else, significantly. And for some record, the seventh person is also seventh person in the order, getting on higher clip as well. Here's some savant rankings. I thought were very interesting, especially his fastball run value. We'll get to that later. We have the run value stats pulled up, but he significantly declined his fastball for year over year from 2022 to 2023. When I was looking into it, I believe he lost a mile an hour, went from 98 to 97. And it went from 20 to 2 run value. That's means he was getting hit a lot more, folks. And I don't know necessarily what that is. I think the curveball he added will definitely help with that. But going down here, nothing really significantly changes besides they start chasing more in 2023. I think from him developing his slider more. And then he's definitely not missing as many barrels in 2023. Um, it just could be a year to year thing, but I think 30 points down, and that's something you need to look at just to be out there. And I should probably mention this, but the 2022 and 2023 rankings, the reason I'm using those are is two full seasons that we can base his card market off of and future projections, let's say. So here's the run value that page I was talking about. The run value page. You see his fastball, significantly worse, but his slider actually went up quite well, and so did his changeup, went up a little bit. with the curveball added, I do think the fastball will come back as being a little bit more effective than it was. Um, but also here, if you look at the percentage used for each pitch, he took his fastball down about 10 percentage points from 2022 to 2023. Started using it less and started using his slider more and upped his changeup. I think he understands that he can't pull off this fastball forever. But we'll have to see how it comes back in 2025 with a mile an hour is on it as well. Dropping a mile an hour from 22 to 23 does concern me looking on it now. And something else that was fun, splits from 22 to 23. Relatively the same for lefties, but if you look at righties, guys were hitting 156 off him in 2022 and, 208 in 2023. So not as, he's not getting righties out as much. And it kind of scares me, especially with the slug going up and the OPS, meaning guys are hitting harder balls and balls for extra base hits. Um, the OBP is still there, but fucking OPS was up. Also, total bases was significantly up. So I understand there's more at bats here, but just something to think about. Never know. And this was also this is kind of a cherry pick stat, but I thought this was interesting to show how dominant he has been. This is the last, I don't know. I looked at most strikeouts on Baseball Reference from ages 23 and 24 and in the live ball era, so since 1920. So that encompasses, most guys that we're going to be talking about. Let's just try to hear 483 in 318 innings pitched. You look at Clemens, 535 innings pitched, and Blyleven, 556. That is, he is on a historic pace, and that shouldn't be underestimated. Oh, I got to go back. Hold on. Here we go. It shouldn't be underestimated here with how many innings he's pitched and how dominant he has been. I mean, if you take a look down this list, you'll notice some all-time names. Clemens, Kershaw. Oh, who's this? Luis Severino. Luis Severino is also very dominant, having 450 strikeouts, 384 innings pitched. Not as dominant as Strider, but just recency bias. This was also a well-known pitcher when he came up. He had a lot of hype around him, especially on the Yankees. And look at his card values now; they are nowhere near where you would have thought they would have been in 2017. Also, going down this list, we can also take a look at Tim Lincecum. 415 strikeouts and 373 innings. Not as dominant as Severino, and certainly not as dominant as Strider. But another guy, on a very all-time list, and he's pretty much forgotten about in the hobby for the most part, except if you're diehard Giants collector. So, what does prices look like today? Well, I chose three different cards here. I chose his base Bowman Chrome autograph, his base Topps Chrome rookie autograph, and his base Topps Chrome Sapphire, all in a PSA 10. This is courtesy of Market Movers, where I got this data. Shout out Market Movers, great tool to track what sports cards are doing. Um, his cards are relatively flat, and I did all data. I was just curious from when he came up, especially if you look at his Topps Chrome and his Sapphire. They are maybe down. I mean, you can see here, the Topps Chrome's actually up 16%, but the Bowman Chrome's down 15%, and this Sapphire card has taken a hit. I'd assume that's because of Sapphire as a brand as a whole, but it's pretty impressive. I mean, he's not that far down from his rookie hype and how dominant he was the next 2 years, and he spikes around the start of last year. I mean, there's a sale of $600 here, and I mean, that's wild. I mean, it's pretty concerning that he's still relatively flat. And he's 26, guys. He's 26 with 500 strikeouts. He's got a lot of work to do to become a established pitcher in the hobby, especially a pitcher on the way to Cooperstown. So I don't know if Hall of Fame voters going to change and start looking at peak more. Maybe he puts together 4 or 5 years from now until 30, 31, 32, where he's a dominant pitcher and wins multiple Cy Youngs. I don't know, but that's for you to decide. Yeah, that kind of worries me. Look how high his prices are compared to when he came up. It had all this hype at age 23. Oh, he's gonna pitch forever and be healthy because he is he's in tune with his body and knows what's going on. Very smart pitcher. And I also want to compare him to other active pitchers. I chose some the people within 3 years of age and some recency bias here with Schoolball. But let's take a look at this. Corbin Burns just got that massive payday with Arizona, and I understand the sales from November, but $55 for a PSA 10 Bowman Chrome autograph. You got George Kirby here and Logan Gilbert. Both are 26. One might be 27, but same ballpark. And they're both selling for $100. And I'm not saying that they're a better pitcher than Spencer Strider, but similar age, and they've had really good success at the big league level. And they're I mean, 200 from $100. That's a big price difference. It's wild. Um, you also I threw in Bieber here because Bieber was one point considered the next big pitcher. I know his prices. I don't have I had to put all that on here to see what his prices were in 2018, but I mean there was hype around Bieber when he came up. People were selling his cards for good money, and he's in at $45 now, and we've seen what he's panned to be. The only reason Tariq Skubal was even close on this graph because he'd be about, I don't know, $100 right now if he did not have the year he had last year or less is because of that Cy Young year. And that's what, can happen to a card. You put up such a dominant year like Tariq Skubal. You had to, sail up here almost $360 at the high point, and that was, in September when they were making that playoff push. Um, it is starting to hype back up with the preseason hype, but Strider said, so far there's nothing, no real upward turn there for Strider to start this year. Um, so what does Strider need to do to see an increase in his cards? I think a lot of people are holding right now. I don't want to say that, and they want to see what he ends up doing. But we need to see how he looks after this internal brace surgery. We need to see how hard he's throwing, how comfortable he is, how effective that curveball is added to the pitch. And I think that he's going to come back and be fine, and the curveball is going to be great. But we need to see how that fastball plays because it didn't play very well in 2023. But in memory, I thought it played great. And I'm sure a lot of Braves fans would say the same. So they thought that that fastball was fantastic. Turns out that it actually regressed a very significant amount. So how does he look after the internal brace surgery? And then can he sustain, the dominance that he has, striking people out? Because that's what is getting his name thrown around in the hobby. Can he sustain 200 to 260 strikeout seasons consecutively and not get hurt again? That ties into this point is can he sustain that dominance with being healthy? I think if we see Strider pitch the next 3 years and, have I don't know, anywhere from 220 to 250 strikeouts a year, I think people are gonna, their his prices are gonna go back up, and I think people are gonna start buzzing about him and say, "Oh, well, how long can he do this for, and how many strikeouts can he really get to?" Because I mean, if he stays healthy, I mean, he's got a shot at 3,000. Um, but how healthy, how long, and how dominant will he be in his later years? Also, I think this is a big thing. Um, looking at his postseason numbers, he had 3 starts and 2 of them in 2023. They weren't bad, but I think a lot of people remember that 2022 start against the Phillies with Rhys Hoskins taking that bat and slamming it into the ground. I think people want to see Spencer Strider come out in October and dominate. I mean, that's going to get people talking about Spencer Strider again, as if he leads the Braves deep into a playoff run, and not necessarily winning the World Series, that would help, but if he has multiple, 10 strikeout games this year in October, I mean, I think people are gonna really start looking at Strider again after the year. Um, I'm not sure what else could happen this season for his cards to go up besides that. So, I'm holding what I have. I don't think I'd buy. I don't think this would be a buying period, but I also don't think it's a selling. I think we need to wait and see until he comes back. I mean, I think the first selling point would probably be uh, here in mid-April when he's starting to, people are starting to see bullpens and starting to see him ramp up. Not much is happening now. He's starting to ramp up in spring training. I think people need to see him back on the mound and see him healthy and see how dominant he is. So, with that being said, this is the first video I've made, first content I've ever done. Let me know if you like it, and if you do like it, I'll see you again. If you don't like it, just shoot me a message on Instagram. It'll either way, it'll be great. But thank you guys for watching, and hopefully Strider's healthy this year. Thank you.